Radio.
If you or a family member are 55 or over and need nursing home level care, but want to keep living where you are, check out Providence Elder Place PACE. This program offers healthcare, housing, transportation, and recreational activities. There are no co-pays, no deductibles, and it's covered through Medicare and Medicaid. Providence Elder Place PACE works to keep healthy and in your home. Call 206-320-5325 or visit providence.org Elder Place. Providence.org Elder Place.
Hi, I'm Paul Pearson of StarTime. Did you know that back in the 1930s, Rainier Avenue Radio operated out of a supply closet in the Columbia City Sea First Bank? Well, times have changed and so have we. Now you can hear all the great Rainier Avenue Radio shows on our mobile app for Android and iPhone. It's completely free on the Google Play Store and the iPhone App Store. The Rainier Avenue Radio app.
How would COVID vaccines work in your body? Here are 3 things to know. Number 1, a vaccine is basically a training session for the immune system. Vaccines teach the immune system to look for features of a virus. So when a virus does show up, it's ready to fight it off. Number 2, vaccine gives your body a plan to recognize the virus. Then your immune system starts preparing by making antibodies, fighter cells, that stay in your blood as protection in case the virus tries to invade. What this means is you get immunity against the disease without having to get sick first. Number 3, when enough people's bodies know how to fight off a virus, it has nowhere to go. That slows the spread. When people get a vaccine, we're able to stop the spread quicker and get closer to ending the pandemic. To learn more, go to covidvaccinewa.org. A message from the state of Washington.
Would you like to see when your favorite Rainier Avenue Radio show comes on? Check out our show schedule, updated weekly at rainieravenuradio.world.
All right, we are back in the house one more time, Monday Night Sports. I'm Dupe, and welcome to Monday Night Sports with Dupe and Edwin Bailey, the legend, the Seahawks legend. Okay, where's the big guy at? Okay, he's going to be joining us. If he's not here, is he in the waiting room? Okay, we will find him. I told him, I said, Edwin, okay, you got to be on because I got a topic I want to talk to, and we will get him in a minute. I got a topic I want to talk about and really get his perspective as a professional athlete. And that is, and we'll go to this in a minute. I have other things I want to cover, but I'll just tease this, is that, and I know this is a little bit late. You probably guys have talked about this and what have you, but with the French Open, with Naomi Osaka, with her pulling out and the pressure that the media puts on athletes. And so I want to get Edwin's take on that as a former professional athlete, and just the expectations that I think, are pretty unrealistic. And in a word, or in a couple of words, in a phrase, I'd say good for her, good for her. But we'll get to that. Also want to just, again, let you know and tease you, if you have been, or tease this coming up, I shouldn't say tease you, but if you have been enjoying our coverage of both Metro and high school basketball, primarily Metro League, we are not done yet. So doubleheader tomorrow night, the semis, and right here on Rainier Avenue Radio, you will be able to check out a couple more games. So, if you want to see the stream, either go to our YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook pages, and you can see that. We're going to be live at Seattle Prep, and we got a doubleheader. The number 2 Garfield Bulldog girls against the number 1 Seattle Prep Panthers. And that game is at 5:45 right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. And then following that, Eastside Catholic, number 2 against number 1 Seattle Prep at 7:30. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Seattle Prep. We covered the Seattle Prep game last Friday against Rainier Beach, and also had the Eastside Catholic girls against Seattle Prep. And Seattle Prep girls were just, I tell you what, I mean, they are the top team, top ranked, and they just were incredible and will continue. I don't see anybody beating them. I got to be honest with you. But the Seattle Prep boys, a big win over Rainier Beach. And that final was 69-45. And I don't know if this is official, but unofficially, I am going to say that that guy right there, number 22, Braden Smith, is our player of the week. So that's unofficial, okay, because we haven't talked about it. But go ahead, you can go. I guess that was a drive and a foul. Braden Smith finished out with 21 points in the first half. He was unstoppable, and we've talked about Braden Smith quite a bit, on the air. If you recall, he led Seattle Prep to that big win over O'Day in football, first time in 40 years that Seattle Prep beat O'Day. And Braden Smith usually is a receiver, and they had him. He's a backup quarterback, and their starting quarterback was injured, and he played a phenomenal game and led them to that win in football. And I heard he was a really, really good athlete. And I remember the first basketball game we covered. I'm like, okay, this kid can play. He is a tremendous athlete, only a junior, and torched Rainier Beach. And you just see some of the game action from this past Friday night. Torched Rainier Beach for 35 points, 21 in the first half. Went out in I think it was the fourth quarter, and had, I think it was maybe a contusion, a bruise to the calf or whatever, and was limping around and came right back in and led them to a big, big win. So Seattle Prep, again, is the top seeded team in Metro. They're the number one seed. And so they will, again, take on Eastside Catholic. So those two games you'll be able to hear and see right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. And then the other bracket, if you will, girls games will be Holy Names and Bishop Blanchette. That's 3 and 4. And then on the boys' side, number 1 O'Day against number 2 Ingram. And those games will be going on. And then Friday, Juan Cotto will bring you the call for the championship games on Friday. And you can hear all of that right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. So make sure to tune in and, check that out. But yeah, just again, congratulations to Braden Smith. He also had a lot of help from Chike Izanu. Chike had 17 points in that game, and just a big, big win for Seattle Prep. And it's unfortunate that it's unfortunate in one sense that you don't have kind of the state playoffs as they normally would be going on because of the pandemic, playing the shortened spring season. But the positive is that they're able to play. And that's really cool that these young athletes are being able to get out there and play. Saturday, we brought you a Seattle Academy. It was Northwestern Seattle Academy, and the Seattle Academy boys going into that game top ranked in the league again, and they were 6-0 and won that game easily, handily, beating Northwest to continue to be undefeated with the record of 7-0. And I believe we're going to bring you another Seattle Academy, their senior night on the 17th of this month, if I'm not mistaken. We'll bring you both the varsity girls and boys. Yeah, there's some action from that game. You can go full screen if you want, and you can see the action. We don't need to see me. But anyway, okay, there we go. So Seattle Academy there in white and red. That's Tasia Singh with the ball, and Seattle Academy again, just an impressive win. And it's really unfortunate for Seattle Academy because last year, we covered the state playoffs, state tournament, I should say, in Yakima, and Seattle Academy was ranked number 1, lost to Kings in the semis, and Kings the eventual winner. So Seattle Academy finished 3rd in state, the highest finish in school history. And this year, they, other than one senior starter, Lewis Welsh, who graduated, bringing back that entire team. They have, a couple of other seniors, but Lewis started, and they had again just a great young team. Leo DuPree, who is the point guard and the reigning MVP, league MVP. He is back and leading them. And I'm actually, one of the things that's been really, really difficult. And again, if you're just joining us, I'm Dupe. I'm looking through my notes here and I'll share with you in a minute. But Dupe, This is Monday Night Sports, and just focusing a little bit on prep sports, high school basketball in particular. We've been bringing you these games, and we'll continue to bring these games to you. But was mentioning Leo DuPree, and so Leo's among those athletes who is phenomenal athlete, was being recruited, looked at by a number of schools, and how the pandemic really hurt them. You have the top tier like Paulo Banchero and who else? Nolan Hickman and from Eastside Catholic. I mean, you got guys that we're definitely going to get, regardless of what happened, going to get those D1 offers. Leo was a guy who was right there, and in my opinion, is at that level, and he's going to surprise some people. I was talking to his dad, who is the girls' coach at Seattle Academy. So Leo's going to Montverde Academy in Orlando prep school. So he'll go there for a year. Like some of other athletes are doing, they're going to a prep school for a year so that they can play against some of the best talent, around the nation and get that look, if you will, get those looks from schools. He certainly has got some looks from some smaller schools, but Leo's a guy who can, without question, I have no doubt, can play at the D1 level. And so, again, stay tuned, because we will bring you, looking at the calendar just to make sure, but I believe it is on June 17th. We will bring you, let me just take a look. Yeah, that's a Thursday night. And it's going to be Seattle Academy. They're playing Cedar Park, and it's senior night. And we got a pretty special show as well. One of the Seattle Academy seniors is partnered with Miles Gaskin, and from former O'Day player, and they are promoting a line of clothing that is really trying to raise awareness around depression and suicide and what have you. So real special night. That's coming up on Thursday, June 17th. But again, stick around for tomorrow evening, because tomorrow evening we will bring you a doubleheader, as I mentioned, as the Metro League playoffs, kind of round two, if you will. So at 5:45, we're going to be at Seattle Prep for both games. 5:45, the number two seeded, I should say, Garfield Bulldogs against the top seeded Seattle Prep Panthers. And then on the boys' side, following that at 7:30, you've got Eastside Catholic, who is number 2 against top-ranked Seattle Prep. So all of that right here. Make sure to tune in either on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, and you can see the stream of the game. And we're pleased to be able to bring those games to you, because obviously with the pandemic, it's really, really difficult. They are really restricting the number of fans that could be at the games, and so. Our pleasure to be able to bring those to you. And again, I want to just say congratulations one more time before I move off of prep sports to Braden Smith, unofficially the player of the week for his 35-point performance Friday night in Seattle Prep's round 1 or victory over Rainier Beach. They beat Rainier Beach 69-45. And as I said, Braden Smith had 35 points. He torched him. Kid is an athlete, or athlete, as they would say. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to stay on basketball for just a couple of minutes. I don't know if you've been watching the NBA, but boy, I tell you what, I don't know if it surprises there or not, but Atlanta, advances, and Atlanta and Philadelphia and Atlanta over Philadelphia. So they're leading that series 1-0, and that was pretty impressive. And I don't know if you saw the performance by Kawhi Leonard, but the LA Clippers, they were down 3-2, and Kawhi Leonard, I believe it was, I want to say 45 in game 6. And at that point, the away team, the visiting team, had won. The home team lost every time. And so for the first 6 games, which I think was the first time in NBA history, the road team won. And then yesterday, the Clippers at home, they were able to win, and 126-111, and took that series 4-3. Also, going back over to the East for a minute, and looking at the series between Milwaukee and Brooklyn, and Brooklyn right now. So early game 1, James Harden had been dealing with hamstring. I think he missed 20 or so games because of that, and tweaked it, and so not playing tonight. Doesn't matter. Right now, with about 7 minutes left in the ball game, Brooklyn leading Milwaukee 105-74, and I just don't see anybody in the East handling Brooklyn, and especially you get Harden back, but the way that Kevin Durant, I mean, come on. We know for a year he was here in Seattle. I'll tell a funny story about him in a minute as a rookie here in Seattle when I worked with the Sonics. But Kevin Durant, you got Kyrie Irving. I mean, those guys. I mean, they are just killing it. And let me see. I'm just looking at the stat. And then you got Blake Griffin. People forget about Blake Griffin. Okay, Blake Griffin, and it was funny because Blake had been out injured and what have you, and mid-season, whatever, he got a dunk in the game, and they were like, "Oh, can he still dunk?" I'm like, "This is a dude that jumped over some cars and went to win a dunk contest. I think he can still dunk." So Blake Griffin is there and logging 26 minutes so far in the ball game. And again, like I said, they've got looks like 6:51 left to go in the game, and Brooklyn leading by a score of 110-74. But Blake Griffin 8 rebounds, 7 points. But Kevin Durant 32 points, Kyrie Irving 22 points. I mean, come on. And then they got a supporting cast around them that, that helping them get it done. And you give James Harden the time that he needs, and coming back. Jeff Green, I know, injured his leg, and I'm not sure his status. It doesn't look like he's played tonight, nor has DeAndre Jordan. I can't remember if those guys are only out for a short amount of time or if they're done. I'm not sure. But I mean, you look at that roster, man, they're loaded. They are loaded. And then what about Phoenix knocking off the Lakers? And you got Phoenix and Denver. So you talk about up and coming, two young teams up and coming. And so that game coming up here in about 15 minutes, the Nuggets and the Sun, that's game 1. And then tomorrow, the Clippers, as I said, advance, they take on Utah. And that's going to be a series. Donovan Mitchell, man, he can play, flat out play. And then game 2 of Atlanta and Philadelphia tomorrow. They play a game 2. So other games, but that's a lot going on in the NBA. And if you haven't been checking it out, check it out. There's some good games, and it's fun to see other teams in there. I mean, the Phoenixes, the Denver, those teams that historically, you don't see. I mean, the Lakers out, Boston's out, so some of those teams that, are there all the time. And then just love the fact that you got, Brooklyn. I mentioned Kevin Durant. So, I was over player programs and community programs for the Sonics when they drafted both Kevin Durant and Jeff Green. And so, and I'll never forget, kind of funny story, kid you not, it was getting up close to the draft, and Ray Allen was Rashard Lewis, but Ray Allen was the star. He was the team leader. And I remember talking to him, he said, there's some trade talks. I'm like, dude, man, the Sonics aren't going to trade you. And he got traded. and I kid you not, Ray called me on draft. I said, what'd I tell you? And I'm like, man, I am shocked. What the Sonics ended up doing with those picks is or with the picks that they got in trading him to Boston, they were able to draft Kevin Durant and Jeff Green, and I remember taking those two guys out on a Read to Achieve community event, and they were great. But Kevin Durant, again, 1 year out of college, went to Texas and was one and done. And just was really a delight to work with. I mean, he was just a really, really down to earth. I mean, Jeff as well. Jeff went to Jeff Green went to Georgetown and was a couple 2-3 years older. But both of them really down to earth and really fun to work with. Anyway, gives you a little bit about basketball. Now I want to focus, and unfortunately, I don't know why we don't have Edwin. And I sent him the link. And I'm gonna text him while we're talking, because I really want to get, if we can get him on here, get his take on the situation with Naomi Osaka. And I'm gonna send him a text. So yeah, there you go. So if you know the story, if you've been following the story, it's interesting because she did talk to media, but did not, apparently. She didn't do the mandatory media whatever it was, she did press conference or whatever the case may be. She didn't shun the media totally, but she just said, hey, she skipped kind of this mandatory media thing. So you see there on there, yeah, she tweeted that truth is I have a hard time dealing with it, deals with depression and what have you, and the pressure that is put on these athletes is ridiculous, and it is not about the athlete. And I'm sorry, it is just not. So and what I mean by that is that you look at a league, you look at a team, whatever the case may be, they don't care about the athlete. And you say, wait a minute, Rick, that's harsh. No, that's real. And what I mean by that is that as long as the athlete can make them money, can get them wins, okay, the athlete is in good graces. As soon as the athlete loses a step, or there's somebody younger or somebody that can come in and can beat them out and you don't have to pay them as much, the athlete's gone. There is no loyalty to the athlete, and people get upset and say, wow, the players aren't loyal to the team and the league and what have you. It's a business. And so anyway, long story short, Naomi Osaka skipped some of the mandatory media stuff. Again, did not totally shun the press. And in this era where you have, Twitter and all the social media and what have you, whole different story. You can get, comments from them and what have you. But this was about the media, and this was about, the league, and in this case, the French Open owning or controlling, I should say, the narrative. And so not only did they fine her $15,000, but then they threatened her. They said, you know what, if you continue to do this, we may kick you out of the tournament. Basically, I mean, that's basically what they were saying. So last week, when she said, well, guess what, then I'm going to withdraw. She won her first round match. And then she said, you know what, I'm done. I'm dealing with some stuff, and you guys aren't being sensitive to that. So I'm done. And you know what? More power to her. I mean, that she can do that. She has the clout. She don't need the money. Okay. She don't need the money, but and again, reading from your show. So she withdrew, and she had a long statement, but she said, look, I never want to be a distraction. And she said, my withdrawal is the best thing for the tournament. The other players, and for my well-being. She said, I think now the best thing for the tournament, the other players, and my well-being is that I withdraw so that everyone can get back to focusing on tennis, the tennis going on in Paris. She said she never wanted to be a distraction. She can accept that the timing was not ideal, and the message could not have been clearer, though. She said, I never want to be a distraction, and I accept that my timing was not ideal, and message could have been clear. So the president of the French Tennis Federation read a brief statement after she withdrew. So keep in mind, before she withdrew, not only did they fine her, but they were threatening to remove her from the tournament if she did not adhere to their mandatory media expectations, if you will. And, so then he comes on and says, well, first and foremost, we're sorry and sad for Naomi Osaka. The outcome of Naomi withdrawing is unfortunate. We wish her the best and the quickest possible recovery, and we look forward to having her in our tournament next year. As all the Grand Slams, the WTA, ATP, and the ITF, we remain very committed to all athletes' well-being and to continually improving all aspects of players' experience in our tournaments, including with the media, like we have always tried to do. I'm sorry. They haven't always tried to do that. It's not about the athlete. They don't care. The pressure that they put on the athletes. And the bottom line is this. I mean, think about it. She's 23 years old. And you're going in there, you're trying to focus, four-time Grand Slam winner. You have all this pressure, to compete, to perform. And again, as an athlete, you compete at a high level, and you want to obviously win. And, the bottom line is this stuff is a distraction. It makes it hard for you to focus. And when you think about that, I mean, just think about that on our job. If we had these media commitments and media obligations, on our normal job. So you go in, you got to produce. Oh, but by the way, you got to, and then it's critiqued and evaluated all the time. And she said she's experienced depression and anxiety since winning her first major at the 2018 US Open. So, again, that's 3 years ago. So she was like 19, 20 years old at that time. And she said she has experienced, again, depression, anxiety. She said, speaking to the media often makes her nervous. She apologized to any media members that she said, that were impacted by her decisions. I'm not a natural public speaker, and I get huge waves of anxiety before I speak to the world's media. I get really nervous and find it stressful to always try and engage and give the media the best answers I can. And again, part of the challenge is that the media is not forgiving. They just aren't, and they will come at an athlete, and it's really difficult. I remember. So my brother, as you know, Dave DuPree, was a longtime NBA editor for USA Today, and part of what he did, and the NBA would bring him in. So the rookies, they kind of have a rookie, for lack of a better way, I'll call it rookie orientation, rookie camp, whatever. And there's a lot of things that they're talking to the athletes about. But one of the things is that, excuse me, they would bring him in. Pardon me. They would bring him in, and he would talk to these young athletes about how to deal with the media. And unfortunately, the media oftentimes is looking for any angle. They're looking for a story, and we highlight, the negative. And it just, I say good for Naomi Osaka for saying, you know what, you guys aren't going to be sensitive to what I'm going through. I'm telling you, I'm having some challenges here, and you're not being sensitive to that. So guess what? I'm withdrawing. And now you see the impact. You got the number 2 seeded player there, 4-time Grand Slam champion, already won her first round match. And she says, see you later. I'm gone because you're not listening to me, and I got to take care of me. I got to take care of me because you're not going to do it. And I just think that this is going to make leagues, teams rethink, how they do stuff. I mean, people I think used to make fun and laugh at Marshawn Lynch and, put a lot of pressure on him. But Marshawn, like, man, okay, I'm here because I got to be here. And I'll give you a one-word answer or whatever the case may be. It is a hassle. And, in this day and age, of social media, there are ways for, reporters, for media outlets to get, information, to get quotes, to get a soundbite, whatever the case may be. But I just think that this is not the end of this, and we're going to see, in some form or fashion, there's going to be some adjustment, I think, overall of how the media addresses the athletes and the expectations, the demands that are put on them. I certainly hope so, because again, it's about the league, it's about the team, it's never about the athlete. And I'm sorry, I mean, I've been there, I've seen it. I worked 4 years. In the NBA, the WNBA, and saw how the athletes are treated and the expectations. And part of my job was I had to, make sure, and there, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going by memory now, but they had to make like 16 different appearances throughout the season. I had to track all that, for every player, and the expectations, again, because that was part of the NBA cares, and they want to, go out in the community and do good community things, which hey, is totally understandable. Most players enjoy and wanted to do it to a certain degree. But there were times it's like, hey, man, I'm focusing on my job, on what I got to do. And I don't want these distractions. And yet the demands are placed on them. So it's going to be interesting to see, long term, how this impacts, if at all. I think it will. And I think things hopefully the players will have more control. The athlete will have more control than they do now. But it is something that it's real. And again, I'm like, go ahead, girl. When Naomi Osaka said, okay, I'm withdrawing then. You don't want to listen to me. You don't want to hear me and hear what I have to say. Okay, so what? That does it. Sorry, I kind of rambled on there, but that last topic, I feel pretty strongly about. Hey, so Edwin and I, we are going to take a hiatus. We may be back next. I got to figure out the scheduling of this, but we're going to take a hiatus until the Seahawks season, and then we will be back for the full NFL season. Also, there are a couple of specials that we want to do. We'll tease those and share a little bit more about that in coming weeks. That's going to do it for me, Dupe, for Monday Night Sports. Make sure to keep it right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Lidline Sports is next. Granville, Pepe, and the team. And don't forget Metro Basketball right here starting at 5:45 tomorrow night, right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Daniel B., thanks, man. You always pull out the rabbit out of the hat, get some good video. Appreciate it, man, on the fly. Great job. And I will see you tomorrow. Until tomorrow evening, for Edwin Bailey, for Daniel Bellis, for Rainier Avenue Radio, I'm Dupe. Peace and God bless.
Here with the Rainier Avenue Radio